Story 1. Cancer Alternative Treatments and Misinformation. I believe they may harm people more than other health myths. If you tell someone that a silly remedy cures a cold, most people will recover from the cold regardless. Cancer is lethal. Story 2. That gluten-free means healthy. I have celiac disease, and most gluten-free options are often more processed and filled with chemicals than their gluten counterparts. However, because people believe gluten-free is healthier, there are many more options available for individuals with celiac disease. Story 3. As a dietitian, I find the fear-mongering surrounding foods and ingredients by influencers to be very frustrating. It is harmful and contributes to the widespread misinformation in the field of nutrition. People are increasingly confused about what to eat due to misleading information like this. Story 4. There are no side effects to marijuana usage. Don't get me wrong, I support legalization. However, everything has side effects. Story 5. As a woman, please, for God's sake, do muscle training. I don't even care how, but train your muscles. Believe me, you won't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. My mom grew up on the idea that eating no fats and doing cardio would make her perfect. Now at 60, she's feeling old. Her friends tried to convince her to train with them and change her diet, but it didn't work. No-fat diets are unwise. Every restrictive diet is overly simplified. Cardio is beneficial, but it's not enough. I would argue that I would prefer to do weightlifting and walking around rather than excessive amounts of cardio. Story 6. How incredibly reckless the mental health community is. Mental health is crucial and delicate. The way it is handled at times shows we need to make progress. Story 7. I hear many people say urine is sterile. It is not. Do not put it in your eyes, drink it, or apply it to your skin. It is a waste product, not a health trend. Story 8. Drinking 8 glasses of water a day is not a strict rule. Hydration needs vary for everyone, and your body signals when you are thirsty. Story 9. There is a peptide for everything. We are essentially made of and regulated by peptide chains, so there likely is one, but it is probably not among the 16 or so sold by a peptide company. Story 10. There is a persistent idea among some women that the tummy pooch that most of us have is not fat, but rather the uterus. An unoccupied uterus is about the size of a fist, and there are several layers of tissue between the uterus and the outside that would flatten the effect of a fist-sized organ. It's fat. We have fat. Women are supposed to have fat. It's okay that it's fat. Additionally, some of that is skin, but primarily it's fat. This notion seems to stem from some form of fat-hating. Story 11. How the pharmaceutical industry refuses to cure cancer. Considering that 1 in 5 people will develop cancer, anyone who can create a cure for this disease stands to gain significant financial rewards. More individuals will seek to purchase your medication, and profits will increase dramatically. Story 12. This is a psychology topic, but our minds are not as trustworthy as we think. We can convince ourselves of almost anything, and our memories are likely incorrect in some way, even if we are certain they are not. Some people believe that the carnivore diet is good, but the lack of fiber and nutrients from fruits and vegetables can cause significant bowel and digestive issues, and you will not receive the essential nutrients you need. Story 13. Treating type 1 diabetes like it's type 2 is ineffective. There's no amount of exercise or dieting that a person with type 1 diabetes can do to cure their condition. Story 14. COVID-19 is not just a cold. While it may feel or look like a cold due to shared symptoms and milder cases, it has a much higher likelihood of life-changing consequences. COVID-19 infection, even mild cases, can cause substantial long-term changes in the immune system. The continued immune response to persistent SARS-CoV-2 can lead to reactivation of certain latent viruses. Globally, data from various countries estimate that 10 to 20% of individuals infected with SARS-CoV-2 experience post-COVID-19 condition. Studies have shown that over 50% of people, with some reports indicating 70% or more, who have contracted SARS-CoV-2 suffer damage to their organs. It's not the plague, but it is certainly not a cold either. Story 15. The idea that a single diet is healthy for everyone is misleading. Different people require different foods in varying amounts. Story 16. Certain foods or food groups can contribute to weight gain, and this is not solely dependent on the number of calories consumed. Story 17. Simply being cold or not wearing a jumper does not mean you will catch a cold. In reality, to catch a cold virus, you need to be exposed to someone who is sick. Story 18. You need to eat 100 grams of protein each day. Force yourself to drink 8 glasses of water daily for optimal health. Gluten may be the cause of some dietary issues. Body mass index measures body fat percentage. Story 19. The idea of having to cleanse yourself daily from toxins raises the question. What are toxins? You cannot simply label something as toxins without clarification. Story 20. Lately, I have seen some influencers and even some healthcare professionals claim that fruit is bad for you because it contains sugar. Eating fruit is not the same as eating a package of cookies. Fruit contains fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and many other essential nutrients that our bodies need. Of course, if you eat 5 pounds of fruit a day, you may encounter issues, but everyone should aim to consume at least 2 to 3 portions of fruit each day. Story 21. Health is an objective concept with a universal ideal that all people strive to meet. In reality, it is relative to individual circumstances, desires, and realistic expectations. People's bodies are not homogeneous in how they function and should be treated uniquely. The terms junk foods and superfoods are marketing labels. Focus on obtaining the necessary nutrients and vitamins in your diet, and don't hesitate to enjoy a cookie if you want. Not every food needs to be optimized. Story 22. As a nutritional scientist, 99% of all food-related health advice in the media is often amusing yet can be quite frustrating at times. Story 23. Local honey is excellent and you should buy it, but it won't help with seasonal allergies. First, it doesn't enter your system through your nose. Second, it is made from the previous year's harvest, so it doesn't contain a variety of pollen from throughout the bee's active season. Third, it consists of pollen from insect-pollinated plants, rather than the wind-pollinated plants that typically cause allergies. Story 24. Vaccines do not cause autism. The only claims of a connection come from non-experts. There is no actual link to be found. Autism is a condition individuals are born with. It cannot be contracted from vaccines or any other source. Story 25. Juice is healthy. My mom still believes this. I don't think she has ever read a nutrition label to see how much sugar or sodium is in that healthy juice. Story 26. Buying cleansing juices is beneficial for you. They are often expensive and a sickly green color. Your liver and kidneys are designed to filter and detoxify your blood. Detox smoothies can be misleading, and their customers often lack a basic understanding of how the human body works. Story 27. Going to sleep with wet hair will not give you a cold. While it creates a damp environment that can promote bacterial growth, it does not cause a virus. Story 28. My ex-classmate was really surprised when I told her I've been taking antidepressants for almost a year and am not going to stop. Turns out some people believe you can't take medication for more than 3 to 4 months. Story 29. My father-in-law is a junk healer and a scam artist who claims that blood cells take the shape of health problems under the microscope. It's ridiculous. He has stolen thousands of dollars from people who turn to him as a last resort. They are literally dying, and he instructs them to stop chemotherapy, drink his juice diets, take methylene blue, silver drops, and those strange white pills that are essentially the same as an herb sitting beside some powder and whispering at it. He then tells them they are getting better. They don't know if the cancer is spreading because they stopped going to oncology. When they become sick and eventually die, he blames them and tells their grieving relatives that it is because they cheated on the diet. He should be in jail. Additionally, there is the internet and the concept of magical Lyme disease. My child had a confirmed Lyme disease diagnosis through both the enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay and Western blot tests, and she was treated at a pediatric infectious disease clinic. It has been horrific. Her hair fell out in perfectly round, dime-sized smooth patches. She still experiences knee pain to this day, 18 years later. I cannot tolerate people co-opting a serious illness. If it were that serious, then essential oils wouldn't cure it. And the fake healers making enormous sums of money off fear are equally appalling. Story 30. You can lose weight by exercising. As someone who was large as a child, I believe portion control is essential. Exercise is beneficial in moderation for various reasons, but losing weight can be stressful and requires a full-time commitment if you take it seriously. People often set themselves up for failure when they attempt significant lifestyle changes like exercise to lose weight. You need to run approximately 30 miles to burn 1 pound of fat. Story 31. You cannot target weight loss to a specific area. It does not work that way. You are simply burning fat, and where it comes from is your body's decision. Story 32. People vastly overestimate the value of increasing your basal metabolic rate, which is how much energy your body needs to exist, through gaining muscle. Whenever this topic arises, people often emphasize the importance of gaining muscle because muscle burns calories. The problem is that fat also burns calories, and it is much easier to lose fat than to gain muscle. Therefore, even if someone is successful, the average person will lose a significant amount of fat, gain a little muscle, and hardly affect their basal metabolic rate as a result. Does increasing muscle mass elevate basal metabolic rate? Yes. Is increasing basal metabolic rate beneficial? Yes. Is this benefit so significant that it is the first thing that comes to mind when someone asks why they should gain muscle? Absolutely not. Story 33. Keto cannot cure bipolar disorder. It is a genetic condition, and a ketogenic diet can interfere with medications, potentially harming your liver. In some cases, this may lead to the need for a liver transplant. Story 34. 8 glasses of water and similar hydration myths exist, but coffee can also be hydrating. Any nutritional belief that can be disproven by simply reading the label is questionable. A common misconception is that all protein and energy bars are equivalent to candy bars. However, the labels indicate they typically have very different nutritional profiles. Another popular fitness advice is that one cannot out-exercise a poor diet. Many individuals who were high-level endurance athletes in their early adult years know that it is indeed possible. Cross-country runners consuming entire pizzas was a frequent occurrence. The notion that fitness is universal is misleading. Fitness is relevant only in relation to specific goals. These goals may include gaining muscle, living a long and pain-free life, attracting partners, or qualifying for a marathon in the Olympic trials. The methods of measuring fitness for each of these goals can vary significantly. Story 35. You need to stay awake if you have a concussion. Sleep is beneficial for your brain and aids in healing. As long as the person with a concussion can have a logical conversation and is otherwise fine without showing signs of a more serious injury, it is acceptable for them to sleep. Story 36. That you cannot feel high blood pressure or that you cannot feel it until it is a problem is a misconception I heard from doctors. This misunderstanding is why I spent over 10 years unmedicated. The long-term impact on my cardiac tissue can now be seen on imaging, and I am likely to suffer an early heart attack. I pleaded with doctors for years, and they kept telling me it was anxiety or that I was too young. It turns out I had been developing life-threatening high blood pressure, and they do not know why. Medication has extended my life, but ultimately the damage is done. I am not even 40 yet, but I am in the later stages of hypertension and have been for a while. I would not be alive without my doctor, who saw the trend and aggressively treated me with medication. I am alive because of medicine and one doctor out of many, including specialists, who told me it was all in my head. You can feel high blood pressure. You do not need to be old to have it. You can have high blood pressure and be at a healthy weight, and it can be caused by many factors. Obesity, as we know, is a leading cause. Do not think it cannot be you because of your age or weight. Also understand that it is not always anxiety when you see that number go up. Story 37. Sleep debt can accumulate if you do not get enough rest. When you miss out on sleep, the damage occurs in real time. During sleep, the brain is rejuvenated, and a lack of sleep prevents this from happening consistently. While catching up on sleep later is beneficial, it does not completely reverse the effects of missed rest. Story 38. Detox teas. Anything claiming to detox your body quickly is a scam. As long as your body is functioning normally, it has its own means of eliminating toxins. You don't need to buy an expensive box of tea that will make you uncomfortable. Story 39. The claim that drinking a moderate amount of alcohol is good for your health is a finely crafted myth that has generated billions in profits and contributed to millions of middle-aged deaths. Story 40. That monosodium glutamate is bad for you. It's just flavored salt. The reason the myth persists is that people hate admitting they were fooled. The reason the myth exists is that monosodium glutamate is popular in Asian cooking, and racism is a significant problem. It was easy to hurt small immigrant businesses like Chinese restaurants by spreading the lie that one of the many flavored salts we use in cooking was, in fact, a toxic poison, but only when used in Asian cooking and not in the hundreds of other places where you'll find monosodium glutamate that you don't even realize you're consuming. In double-blind tests, people with sensitivities to monosodium glutamate are consistently revealed to be mistaken. If you have a high-sodium diet in general, then you need to lower your sodium intake, regardless of whether it's monosodium glutamate, table salt, or other types of salt. Story 41. It is shameful that we allow such ignorance to persist in the 21st century. The spread of misinformation regarding health from sources that are not actual health professionals is troubling. We need to call out dangerous beliefs because the state of the world is largely a result of unchecked misinformation. If you believe anything contrary to what the general scientific consensus states, and you are not a medical expert, you are incorrect and need to recognize it. Story 42. Right now, the issue with vitamin A related to measles is leading to child fatalities. The study that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his associates reference simply indicates that in areas where vitamin A deficiency is already compromising the immune system, administering vitamin A is beneficial. That is all the evidence they have. Meanwhile, it is easy to overdose on vitamin A, and incidents of overdose are on the rise. Want to damage your liver? Proceed with caution. Story 43. Reducing obesity is often oversimplified to the idea that individuals simply need to eat less and exercise more. While the basic principles of physics may apply, this perspective overlooks a critical factor: the mental aspect of weight management. If your habits and preferences do not maintain a healthy weight, changing them can be extremely challenging to sustain. If you disagree and maintain a healthy average weight, I invite you to conduct a personal experiment. Try reducing your body fat percentage and maintaining that appearance for a few years while consuming foods you do not enjoy and dedicating daily time to a hobby that does not interest you. Assess whether you can sustain that lifestyle through life's ups and downs. This experience parallels the expectations often placed on individuals struggling with obesity. Story 44. That vegan option is healthier. I support animal rights and love animals, but there is no way a Beyond Burger with all those chemicals can be better for me than a piece of meat. However, I am open to being proven wrong. Story 45. Drinking alcohol in moderation can be beneficial. 1 glass of red wine is acceptable, but it should not exceed the equivalent of 1 cup of black tea. Black tea does not carry health risks, aside from the potential to scald yourself or someone else. Story 46. As a child, I disliked the idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I have never enjoyed most quick breakfast foods and disliked having to eat any of them before school. Story 47. You can swallow your tongue during a seizure. I was epileptic as a child, and I try to spread awareness of seizure first aid tips whenever I can. It's unfortunate how much I still see this belief. It actively puts people at risk. Story 48. When people say, "It will happen, it will work out, your body knows what to do," regarding pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding, or any medical issues, it can be misleading. I lost my first baby to incompetent cervix and have undergone numerous medical interventions just to have children because of it. My body certainly did not magically know what to do, and I felt much more traumatized by the experience because of that sentiment. I know many others have experienced something similar. I cannot imagine how many people have ignored when something was wrong or felt completely emotionally wrecked when something did go wrong because they have always been told that their body knows what to do. And when their body did not, it must have left them feeling like the most broken person on earth. It is important not to say this to people. Story 49. Health and food seem to be areas where conspiracy theories and general misinformation have found a prolific creative outlet. These days, we hear all kinds of things and see various trends. ranging from claims like, "They're putting sewage in our energy drinks," to "canola oil will kill you," to all-meat diets and veganism. Story 50. The term mental illness refers to psychological disorders that can be managed but not cured. Conditions such as depression, bipolar disorder, and anxiety are lifelong disorders. While they can be maintained, they cannot be completely overcome. Story 51. Body mass index is a useful tool for assessing health, but it was not designed for that purpose. The creators acknowledged this limitation, as it does not consider muscle mass. Bodybuilders often find themselves categorized as overweight or obese, according to their body mass index. Several years ago, the threshold for healthy weight was revised from 27 to 25, simply because 25 is easier to remember. Consequently, many individuals began their day classified as having a healthy weight, only to end it categorized as overweight. This system has significant flaws. Story 52. Pretty much everything involving weight loss can be summarized as follows. The only way to lose weight is by achieving a calorie deficit. The reason a fad diet works is that it tricks you into achieving this deficit, not because there are magical weight loss benefits to only eating specific foods. You don't need to follow an extreme diet or force yourself to eat foods you don't like. Instead, you should focus on eating less frequently and balancing your intake with your activity level. Most people fail at weight loss because they don't realize it's more a battle of mental health than physical health. Sure, having someone force you into a calorie deficit through a fad diet may yield short-term results. However, without addressing the underlying issues causing disordered eating, you will likely return to your previous habits once that external support is gone. This is why it's essential to develop the ability to say no to food and recognize the difference between actual hunger and eating out of boredom or thirst. Story 53. Scrubbing your skin every day is unnecessary. You are removing the natural oils that protect your skin from the bacteria you think you are fighting against. This includes your feet. Calluses, when painless, are perfectly normal and serve to protect your feet from the trauma of walking in bacteria. They may not be aesthetically pleasing, but they are not problematic. Additionally, there is no need to wash your entire body every day unless you are an athlete, exercising, or working outdoors. Focus on strategic areas, but your legs do not require daily washing. It's fine if you choose to wash every day or if you don't. You also do not need to use a washcloth daily. Your hands are sufficient. And ladies, please avoid using a washcloth for intimate areas. Your hands and fingers are completely adequate. Less is more. Story 54. Anything that excuses doing the right thing is unacceptable. Get your vaccinations and wear your masks when appropriate. Follow your doctor's instructions. If you disagree with your doctor's advice, seek a second opinion from another medical professional, not from social media platforms. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.